Six-pack Lapadat. We got Agata Sitko and Agata. You got we could get right into it. This is big. You got a bit of an announcement to make.
Yeah, so now that we know that I'm going to Sheffield, I can finally reveal that we've been planning something with my coach since Worlds actually, and I'm going down a weight class. I'm going to compete as a under 69 in Sheffield.
Oh, and this is big news. You literally jump from a stacked division in the 76s with Carlina, Jessica Bittner, and I mean, from Carlina being a massive 76, like crossing over the 600 kilo threshold, to Jessica Bittner, who's one of the biggest stars in all of powerlifting and all the attention she brings. And you jump from a super hot division to another one with the 69s because 63 kilo world champion uh Carla or Carola Garra, who in equipment, out of equipment, I don't gotta tell you because you're an equip lifter as well. Carola Garra is an absolute legend of the game and multiple time world champion. And she's in the 69s at Sheffield. And Leah Bavoil, multiple time world champion, multiple weight classes, and a legend of the game. And just like Jess, one of the biggest stars in all of powerlifting. She's in the 69. So you are literally, I was talking to uh, Pete Spence, and I'm like, Agata is always right in the mix. The biggest showdowns, the most important showdowns happening, Agata's in there. Like, this is such a good move for you. This is
Yeah,
such a good move for powerlifting. It's phenomenal. But were you making so what went into your decision making to do this?
so like when Evie won Sheffield in 2023, yeah, this year, uh, everyone was just like, "Oh, that was such a great move," and my coach kind of liked that idea, and he was like, kind of joking at first, "Oh, maybe you should cut to 69s," and I was a bit skeptical of it at first because like I don't like losing weight. I like to eat a lot, and I don't like being hungry, but leading up towards, I struggled to maintain my weight as a 76. So I was eating 30 to 100 calories every day, just struggling to
Oh,
finish every meal, stuffing my mouth all the time, and just was so sick of eating. And I decided to give myself a break post works and just not count calories, eat as much as I feel I need to. And I naturally lost like 3 kilos in a
oh,
month or something. So since I was already 73 kilos, like in August, I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. It makes sense. We can use this opportunity, me not having appetite, and to go down to 69 and maybe win.
so this is kind of more of a natural weight class almost. Like you naturally, if you're just eating when you're hungry and nothing more, you're kind of in the middle. You're kind of in the middle, and you'll be
Yeah.
a 73 is a pretty small 76. Like Jess cuts weight. Like you're going against women who are naturally having to cut into it. So you're kind of an in-betweener. If the 72 kilo weight class was still around, that would have been perfect for you, but it is what it is. Um, to continue to cut, so if you're naturally around 73 and you got to make 70 or 69, sorry, are you getting a nutritionist involved? Do you think you'll have to maybe do a water cut, gut cut near the end as well?
So I'm currently sitting at around 72, 72.5 kilos. I've
Oh,
just reached out to a nutritionist and we're gonna decide if we want to cut more weight now or maintain this weight for some more time and then as we get closer to the meet cut more because he said that it's not always the best to maintain such a low body weight for a long period of time. So like yeah, we're just going to see if it would actually be low body weight for me or like and yeah, based on that, we're gonna decide if we want to cut more now or closer to the meat.
and who is the nutritionist?
Uh, he's from Poland, so Damien
Oh,
Farrell. I don't think like.
gotcha. I mean, it does. It sounds like he knows what he's doing, obviously, and it's true. I mean, you talk to a nutritionist, and they'll tell you, "I 100% can get you to the body weight you want to get to, no question about that." But how you're going to feel and how strong you're going to be is really the key. And how long should you stay at this new body weight? I mean, maybe water cutting, gut cutting the last few kilos is better, even though it's like I could probably make you 69 kilos walking around all year round. Is that going to impact your performance though? Because it's not about just making weight, it's also about performance. And I think the Evie Corrigan effect has a lot of people thinking like what Evie did at Sheffield when she made 52. A lot of people, myself included, were very skeptical. Like, you made 52, but how strong are you going to be and how do you feel? And the answer apparently was she felt phenomenal and was super strong. Then it became, hold on 1 second here. Crazy. And Evie Corrigan, the big question was, can she maintain this? And then comes back for the world championships and does what she does there and looks even stronger than she did at Sheffield. So it's got a lot of people wondering and thinking, should I be doing the same moves? So I'm wondering if moving forward, more people start doing this transition and start being like, let me look at my total I have now, look at the total that's a weight class below me and see what happens. Now, how much of this? So Evie Corrigan had you and your coach thinking about it. Have you been paying attention to Leah Bavoil and Carola Garra and all of the hype that they have? And how exciting is that for you to be like, oh, let me interject myself?
Well, the 76ers kind of lost the hype recently, with like Carlina clearly being a little bit stronger. The fight at Worlds this year wasn't that close, so yeah, going down to another super hype clash like this is definitely a little bit more exciting, I would say, because like everyone's talking about this now, and that's the most exciting weight class, and to be a part of this will be something like 2022 me versus Jess. I feel so,
If it's
and
anything
like
like that.
yeah, and like also talking about that performance, I feel like I'm capable of hitting something like close to 580 plus in this weight class because like I've at the Garra Power meet I was around 72 already in day-to-day life, so I just like uh, artificially increased my weight so people wouldn't notice anything, and
I
I
was
hit
gonna say,
587.
wow, sneaky. Because I was gonna say your weight at girl power was 74.8. Still low for a
Yes.
76. Still low for a 76, but you were sneaky being like, I can't let them know. What did you do to hide it? You just drink a bunch of water?
Yeah, I just ate a lot of carbs and salt the day before and then drank a lot of water. So I guess that helped a little bit with performance, but still I was 72 in training, and as for deadlift, they just skyrocketed. Like, so bench didn't get affected that much. Like it's pretty much the same. Just need to get my squat back up.
Yeah, so you were pulling to even that like a 600 kilo total even at the very last deadlift, right?
Yeah. So
And
like
was that your goal to be like, look, before I leave, I want to try to get that 600 kilos?
I when I got an invitation to this meet, I didn't really think I would go for it because like I was in the middle of the off season, didn't have a lot of time to prep for this. But as we got closer to the meet, and I realized that I might be able to pull to 50, I just was like, we could try. Like, we can try for that 600 kilo total. And I hit squats and bench exactly the numbers that I wanted to. I thought I would have to 52 and a half on the day based off the training, but I didn't really do a deadlift session for 2 weeks leading up to the meet, so I guess that played a role.
Mm.
So unfortunately not there, but I think I did have like 245 in me on the day, so we're getting pretty close.
And in terms of the squat and the bench press, um, how have those numbers been affected? The bench press rule came into effect and you had to do some adjustments. How have the adjustments to the bench press rule gone? And then the body weight, sometimes body weight cutting can affect the squat and the bench press in particular.
So on the bench, I started sinking the bar to make depth, and that worked pretty well, I think. Like I got three white lights on all three attempts at grip power. And as you could see, 152 and a half, which is just half a kilo below my personal best, flew. I definitely had some left in the tank. So that's not an issue anymore. In training, it's been going pretty much the same as always. It's a little bit heavier during the peak, and then when the competition on the comp day, it's always much lighter. So I wouldn't say bench is affected. My squat went down recently, but I don't know how much of it was losing body weight and how much was just us focusing on deadlifts and kind of
Mm.
putting squat aside. So we'll see how it goes now that we can focus on building that squat.
Beforehand, Carola Garra, multiple time world champion, in and out of equipment, versus Leah Bavoil, multiple time world champion. And now we have another world champion and you jumping in there. I mean, it already was the best showdown of 2024. Now it's undeniably, this is like the perfect storm. Having the three of you show up with the resumes you have and the intriguingness around your cut, because who knows, right? It's like, oh my gosh, how is she going to feel? How is it going to perform? But your top end potential, the potential of you doing 580, oh my goodness. However, we don't necessarily know like where, if I pull up the result sheet here. So Leah did 559 at Worlds without doing her last pull. And because she obviously incentivized win, don't break the world record. We got a battle coming at Sheffield. And then Carola Garra did 557.5. And she looked great. What do you think those ladies are going to be telling themselves when they find out, oh damn, Agata's moving down?
I think they both should just gain some weight. That should be their first thought. They are kind of light for this weight class. So, like, that's already something that, like, that's like a pro that I have. Something like this. That I'm heavier. So it's easier for me to lift those weights. And yeah, they should probably aim at a 580 plus kilo total because that's what I'm bringing.
That's that's a big ask, but it is what it is. I remember a couple of years ago, I had Penna and Leah on the podcast, and they were deciding whether or not Leah would go 69 kilos or 63 kilos. And to your point, Leah and Garra are both going to be comfortably underneath 69 kilos. They just walk around at like 65, 66, around there. But most weight classes, when it's very high competitiveness and it's a stacked class, will end up having people not only filling the top of the weight class, but being over the weight class and having to cut into it and being big, strong, walking in that weight class, filled it out or filled the weight class are so big. In 69 kilo class, we didn't have that. We had potentially Garra, who could always do it, and Leah walking around. And they, without having to do that, they could win, break records, etc. And I remember Penna and Leah, and Penna is saying, that's how special Leah is. And I'm like, absolutely, Leah's special. However, there's always going to be the potential of a young lion that comes around. And they're going to walk into the weight class and be like, I am a true 69. I cut to get here. I am big and strong. And this is, I'll weigh 69 kilos for all of 2 minutes that day. And then I'll start drinking water. And then I'll be 70 something. And that is going to be the person you have to deal with at some point. And it didn't happen yet, but it was bound to happen eventually. And Agata, it's happening right now.
Yeah. I feel like the 69s were always kind of not as competitive as other weight classes. And part of the reason why the world record is lower in the 69s than the 63s is what you just said, that there's not a 69, there's a real 69. And yeah, it always felt like that's just not as competitive as of a weight class. Uh, I don't know, most of the people from the 72s, I feel like went to the 76s,
Mm.
like Jess, Carolina, me. So yeah, probably that's that.
It's yeah, it's interesting. You're right, first off. A lot of people did go up to the 76s as opposed to going down to the 69s. Do you feel I guess it's early to tell, but do you feel like maybe after the 72s close down, what if the 69s ends up being your actual weight class that you're the best at, that you found your home? Do you think that might be the case?
We'll see, definitely. I don't know yet. The problem is that I would have to be at around 80 kilos to compete equipped because I have like size 40 suits for equipped, which are a bit too big for me at 76s. So like trying to fit in all those weight classes in 1 year is kind of hard. When they first announced that 72 kilos was going to change to 69 and 76s, I was pretty happy because I at that time struggled to stay in the 72s. I was dealing with some eating disorders, so I was actually struggling to cut weight down to the 72s. But right now, I'm feeling like I might actually fit better in the 69s. I'm pretty short, and I don't feel like I need this much body fat to be strong, and it might not complement me, like it might not help my strength. So maybe cutting down and staying down there and then slowly bulking back up to gain actually muscle and not fat would be much better. But like I'm planning to compete equipped next year, so I don't know how I'm gonna do all of that.
Could you not do a Quip 69 though?
Yeah, but I would have to buy new suits and like if it's my last equipped meet because I just have some goals I want to achieve in equipped and then that's gonna be it. I'm probably not going to go back to equipped. Then it just doesn't feel like I want to spend money on the new suit, which is pretty expensive.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
plus like
Because,
squatting 300 kilos while weighing 69 would be much harder than squatting 300 kilos while weighing around 80 kilos.
well, that's a fact. It's a fact. That's for sure. I guess because your sponsors SBD and they don't make like squat suits and stuff.
No,
And
no.
because I was about to say, well, I'm sure an equipment sponsor would step in and be like, here, take this equipment. But on the flip side, you know, obviously you got already sponsors involved helping you out, whatnot. Hmm, interesting. So you still have unfinished business on the equip side, anyways.
Yeah.
Um, you know, listen, if any 69 kilo equip lifters listening to this, donate to Agata. let's keep her 69 and see what happens. Do you feel like though, not only just in the unequipped, but because sure, Carlina won worlds and is a phenomenal lifter. She's also 10 years older than you. She's not going to be there forever. And with all respect to Carlina, even if she is there forever, let's say you were the exact same age, you're not that many kilos behind her. I mean, if you got your last pull at uh, girl power, you would have got 600 kilos. That's as much as Carlene has ever done, and you would at a lower body weight, a much lower body weight. Ty would have went to the lighter lifter. I mean, you were right there with Carlina, anyways. Do you feel like you have unfinished business at 76?
Yeah, that's another point that I wanted to bring up, that I just have to go back there and like win a world title because that's been a goal of mine. And that's why I'm wondering if I should stay at 69 for worlds or go up to 76s because like I want that world title, but I also have some unfinished business. And
Mm.
yeah, it's it's a decision to make.
Here's the thing. I mean, you can't do it all in one run, but
Yeah.
depending on how you do and how you feel at Sheffield, if you if you beat uh Carola Garra and you beat Leah Bavoil and you post up something crazy like 580, those ladies can always go to 63 and you could stay in the 69s and be like, look at I'm maybe if they both go to 63, you might tell yourself the star power that was in 69 is no longer there. I want a good head to head. We had that. Okay, if you guys move to 63, maybe then I move back to 76. However, if you're already did all this getting down to that body weight and you could collect that title and then go 76, because tomorrow's not promised. If you take it, you won the world championships in the equipped. If you grab one in the classic and then move to 76 and then just stay there and work, it's then you could work on being like Leah Bavoil, being a 2 division world champion. It's or you just do Sheffield and go straight to 76, and then what are we doing? We you'll have to bulk back up. You'll have to throw the body weight back on, and then you're gonna cut it all over again in the future. It's tough. It's tough, but I don't know. It's difficult to say. Have you thought about these kind of things kicking around your head, or are you just kind of more focusing on Sheffield?
So like yeah, at first I was pretty certain I was gonna go back to the 76s to then compete as an 84 for equipped. But right now, the more I'm thinking about it, the more uncertain I am. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how I'm feeling at this body weight, what I can put up and stuff, and see if it's like possible to maintain this body weight and still train and progress and stuff, because that's ultimately the goal. And yeah, based off that, we'll have to decide what we're gonna do next.
Well, think about this. I mean, it all depends on how you feel, but it would be whether Gara and Bavois stay 69 or whether they go 63. You would have new goals, like for instance, being the first 69-kilo lifter to total 600 kilos. Can you imagine?
That's already the goal.
Whoa, look at that. Really? Well, I mean, can you? So let's say Sheffield is 580 and up, and you just clinch the win, and you're like, look, let me stay here. Let me stay here. I could add another 20 between Sheffield and Worlds. I can add another 20 kilos as well as a world title. Let's stay here a minute. You might have work to do. And then who knows? We think like Leah and Gara might go down 63 and continue the rivalry. Maybe one of them stays, or maybe someone new comes around. Like there's always moving pieces. So, and to be the first 69 to total 600 would be insane.
Yeah. So like ideally, I would want to hit it at Sheffield. Right now,
Mm.
I'm not sure how it's gonna go. Obviously, there's not that much time left, so it's hard to say. Like there's always something could happen, like an injury or something. But if training goes well, then who knows? Maybe it will happen sooner than everyone thinks.
Yeah. It's because look at you. You went for 600 kilos in your last pull at Girl Power, and your body weight was artificially what it was because you loaded up with water and salt and stuff to retain the water. So who knows? All everything's on the table here. Between Gara and Leah Bavois, which one of them do you think is the biggest threat to you? Which one of them are
Oh,
you like? I'm a little worried about her and what she's bringing to the table and what she might bring to Sheffield.
that's hard to say. Like Leah's squat is crazy, but then Carola's squat isn't much behind, and like Carola has a big bench. Leah's got a little bit bigger deadlift. So like, and they both aren't posting that much training, so it's pretty
Mm.
hard to say. Yeah, just gotta take both of them into account and do something more.
That's right. I mean, it's definitely because they're both floating around that 560. If you do 580, can they put that extra on? What's your impression? Where do you think they end up? Do you think they could get close to 580? You think 580 will win it? Or what's your impression right now?
Well, yeah, again, that's pretty hard to say because, as you've said before, they didn't really have a lot of rivalry recently, so they didn't go all out at meets a lot of times. So it's hard to say where the top end is and how much they can add to that. But like adding 20 kilos, that's a lot. So yeah, hard to say.
Yeah, it is. Do you plan on doing any kind of test cuts leading into Sheffield to like have you actually made 69 kilos before and walked around and it felt what it felt like?
Not yet. I mean, when I started powerlifting, I was around that weight, but that was 4 years ago. So
Right, right.
not.
Do you plan on doing with your coach a test cut where you just like test out cutting, whether it's cutting water or whatever, just to make it so you know what it feels like to test, to sweat it out, or however you're going to do it. Make 69 and you just tighten up your protocols because a lot of lifters what they do is like they'll do a couple times if it's a new weight class they'll do just a test cut at home, get the procedure down. Okay, if I water load this much, sweat out that much, that's what I need to do. And you do that and you have that log, you have that data, and you're like, okay, I know what that is. And you know what it feels like too. Sometimes when you're not used to cutting and it feels really bad when you're dehydrated, and you're like, oh my God, if this is how bad I feel when I'm lifting, I'm dead. But then when you have done it before and you rehydrate, you're like, oh, wow, I actually it turns around real quick. Like I actually feel way better. So it calms the nerves. The more you do anything, the more comfortable you are with it. And it also lets you collect that data knowing I waterlow with this many liters, I do it this many hours out. You get the timing of it, which is very important. Boom, boom, boom. And you collect those data points. Do you think that's something you might do is do like a test water cut or a test whatever just to collect some data, or have you guys thought about that yet?
So like, yeah, it's definitely depends on what we ultimately decide on with the nutritionist. Because I've just reached out to him recently, so we just
Gotcha.
mm, yeah, just beginning the working together. But that's actually a pretty good idea, and I'll have a national meet in December, so we might test it for that. Because I'm
Yeah.
definitely not at the bodyweight to water cut yet. Ideally I will want to lose another kilo, 1/2 a kilo, and then maybe do a water cut or a gut cut. So yeah, that could be a good idea to test it there.
And even if you're not there yet for your national meet, you don't have to go right to 69. You could just
Yeah.
test out, all right, the goal is 70 kilos. And then by the time Sheffield rolls around, I'll lose that extra kilo or whatever. Or the goal is 69.5 or whatever. It doesn't have to be 69, but it's just let me test out cutting water and how many hours out I need to begin and how many liters I need to drink or the gut cut. They do gut cuts now. I don't know if you heard the podcast I did with Kedrick, who's, he does, yeah, he does like Leah
Yeah.
Babos, but he also does like Taylor Atwoods and all of their nutrition. And he talks about gut cutting and et cetera. And he's amazing at it as well, just to get some ideas on it and just testing these things out with no hard, because it doesn't matter if you go full 69 or 69.5 or whatever at your nationals. But then it's also different doing it at a hotel room and under someone else's time where they're like, hey, weigh in is 9 o'clock. You have to be at 9 o'clock and you have to be in a hotel room doing this. That's going to feel entirely different than testing it at home. And you just weigh in 69 kilos whenever you weigh in 69 kilos. And doing it like that, not only do you get the protocol down and everything, but you get used to the pressure of doing it. You get used to the more you do, it's more and more comfortable. So it's not a bad idea. And then whatever you do at that nationals, you don't even have to go all out. You can be like, all right, my goal is to
Yeah,
make a body weight.
I'm definitely not going all out because it's so close to Sheffield. I'm
Mm,
probably just going to do enough to win, and that's it. Like even 2.5 kilo more than the second place.
yeah. Well, then there you go. There's like it's the perfect time to do the body weight test to do because you're not going all out anyways. So
Yeah.
that's you could disguise what your total is going to be anyways as well because you don't want everyone knowing necessarily anyways, right? You want a bit of that Evie Corrigan effect where nobody sees you coming. But how has it been knowing that, like seeing the hype videos coming out for Leah Baba versus Carola Garra and seeing all this, knowing you had that secret in your back pocket, like, oh, you guys don't even know. And everybody was already excited. We're already excited about the Battle of the 69s. Was this the toughest of secrets to keep to yourself? Where you're like, oh my God, I can't wait till everyone finds out.
I mean, I did spill the tea to a few people. Like, by the way, I wanted to ask where did you get the info from? Because I have one person in mind that could have told you. So if you don't mind sharing.
I can't burn a source. I can't burn a source.
I mean, I'm not mad at it anyways, because I thought about telling you myself just before you hit me with that DM, because I also thought about revealing it in a podcast. So I won't be mad. I just want to know. Just want to
Here's the
confirm.
thing. Here's the thing. When you get when you get sources, you can't burn them or else they go away.
Oh,
And you'll never have those
okay,
sources again.
okay.
But
But like,
just like if you told me something, I'm like, okay, I'll keep it to myself. Don't worry, I won't tell nobody. And you told me and confirmed I didn't tell anybody. I was like, I'm keeping this to myself. Um, but yeah. So was it tough to keep it a secret, do you think? Like, were you like, oh my God, I can't wait until everybody finds out?
not really, because I knew it would be a big announcement. So every
Mm.
time I saw a video like this, I was like, they don't know. They're gonna find out eventually. So it wasn't really that tough, although I did tell quite a few people, especially those around me, because yeah, they knew that I was losing weight. So
And at one point, there was like, because you would every now and then just went in as a really small 84. Would you think in the future at some point you'd ever try to go in 84 and be like, let me see what happens? Like let me is your overall goal to try to be, collect as go in as many weight classes as possible? Or what's the bigger picture here when you look back? Because you're young, 20 years old, by the time you're like 35, how many weight classes, how many titles, what are we looking at here in terms of what your overall goal is?
so I definitely want to compete as an 84 plus at some point at the national
Oh my
meet,
gosh, really?
just to just to get all the national records in those four weight
Oh,
classes
okay. Yeah, yeah.
to have that, yeah, filled out. So I already have, I think, all the national records in the 81st. I probably compete as an 84 again. As I said, I definitely feel better competing equipped in the 81st because I feel out the equipment better. And yeah, maybe I will try again competing as an 84 in Classic at some point because I already have last year at Junior Worlds. But then again, I'm pretty short, under 160 centimeters. So it wouldn't, I don't know if it would be ideal for me or if it's just a little bit too heavy. So we'll see how that goes.
In the World Games coming around as well,
Yeah.
might in the World Games obviously being classic, might that impact your decision whether or not you go 69 or 76? Because I believe in the World Games, and correct me if I'm wrong, you might know if are they going to have 76 and 69 kilo class single, or are they going to clump them together?
So in equipped, it's always four weight classes. It's like lightweight, which is 47s and 52s, middleweight, which is 57s and 63s, heavyweight, which is 69s and 76s, and super heavyweight, 84 and 84 plus. And the winner is chosen based off IPFGL points or like
Mm.
coefficient. So it doesn't really matter. Like I could be 76 or 69, and like yeah, that doesn't matter. But the way I thought I want to approach this, because I want to compete in both classic and equipped, if it's possible, at World Games.
Oh,
If classic is first and then equipped, then I'm definitely gonna do this. But if like equipped is first, then I'm choosing classic. Or if they're on the same day, then it's classic as well. But if I could compete in both, then I would like to compete in the middle heavyweight for classic and super heavyweight for equipped, so that I wouldn't have to worry about making weight.
that's not a bad idea. You know, it would be absolutely insane if you were to do something like win both at World Games. Oh my gosh. And now that I think about it, Garra might be thinking the same as a 63.
I talked to Tony Cliff too, and he said he wants to do both as well.
Wow.
So we might have a few people doing that.
Interest. I did not even think about that until this conversation. But that is interesting. And to go with the 69, if it's based off good lift points, if you could keep your strength relatively the same as your 76 kilo total, but you weigh in at like, 69 range, your good lift points will probably shoot up
Yeah.
and be very difficult to beat. Hmm. That's kind of interesting. You going against Carlina, if that's heavyweight, 69s and 76s, only you're a weight class lower, but it's good lift points. Wow. That rivalry kicks back up, only different variables, so to speak. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess we got some work to do before that. To get there, you got to, you got Sheffield, you got the world championships and everything. But yeah, the future's interesting for you, isn't it, kind lady? I can't wait to hear everybody's feedback when they find out, oh my God, did you hear about Agata? Are you if you were to rank this in terms of all your rivalries and showdowns, and you're super young, but I mean, you were a teenager already in right in the mix, and it feels like you were always in a super heavily hyped showdown. You were always right in the mix with a bunch of like stars, and it's uber competitive. If you were to rank this, where do you rank this with your other showdowns that you've had?
I mean, just because it's Sheffield, then it's already like one of the most important, because that's the biggest meet. Everyone's watching it. It's super popular. So, but I feel like to me the most important will always be me versus Jess. That was like the first big showdown, my first open meet, like yeah, my first classic worlds in the open division, and that brought a lot of eyes on me, and I just realized that I'm already capable of competing in the open. So that will always be the most special to me. Even though this one is probably a lot bigger, just because it's Sheffield, I still like think that was the most important one.
That was a special. That was a special session. I'm telling you right now. I've commentated almost 10 years now at the IPF World Championships, and I'll never forget that one. Like that was super duper special for tons of reasons. A lot of similarities of the 69s, where it was world champion versus world champion, just like Gara and Leah. Now, of course, we throw you in the mix. It's even more escalated and elevated. In that 2022 showdown, people were looking at it like Jess is the woman to beat, and Agata's challenging Jess to beat Jess. In this showdown of the 69s, who is the woman to beat in your mind's eye between the three of you?
I would say me, because like I mean, unless I don't lose a lot of strength when cutting down, then like my total is bigger. So if I can maintain the strength, then I am the one to beat.
And does it feel different going into a showdown? Because obviously 2022, Jess was the defending world champion. 2023 Worlds, Carlina had totaled 600 and she became the woman to beat. Does it feel different, do you think, moving down and being like, oh my gosh, I think I might be the favorite? I think I might be the woman to beat here. Does it feel a little different, or it doesn't feel different yet?
I wouldn't say it feels different yet because yeah, we still have to actually cut that weight and maintain that strength. We'll see how people react because that always was like something I was kind of sad about. That everyone just said that like Jess is gonna win for sure. Agata has no chance. If she has a bad day, then she might not even be on the podium and stuff like that. And people just kind of overlooking my performances. Even after I totaled 580 plus 3 times in a international meet, people still said that I might not even be on the podium this year at Worlds. So I hope people will finally see that, yeah, I'm also there. I can total that much. I could be the favorite to win because yeah, that would be cool.
This, so you think possibly Sheffield could be your performance or you reveal I'm number one in this weight class?
Yeah, hopefully.
Because previously you were in the conversation, you were in a
Yeah, but
battle, and people bring you up, but you didn't feel like people like she's number one. She's number one in that weight class. There was always someone else, whether it's Jess, Carlina, whatever. And now you have an opportunity to find a weight class where it's like, it's me. I'm her. And if you're coming in this weight class, it's me you got to beat. It's not me who's got to beat you to prove something. It's kind of a new start like that.
yeah, because I feel like part of the reason why people say this is because I'm from Poland and we don't have a lot of very well known people competing in powerlifting, especially classic. So they might just think that we don't, I don't know how to say this, like we do things the old school way and we're not in the conversation as to who could win.
Mm.
And yeah, that just doesn't feel good. So I hope people will finally see that yes, we can have the best people in the world too.
Some of it too will be like when you're going against Jess, she was the reigning world champion at the time, and you had to beat Jess to take her title. Or Carlina was, at the very least, the reigning world record holder, so she had already like laid that mark. And going into this world championships, if you set the tone with the world record in the 69 kilo class, you can be the one entering the world championships with that heavy mark on. Okay, the reigning world record is mine, so it's my number to beat. And that would be different. You'd be entering the world championships. It would be different then. And if you win the Sheffield battle and you beat Leah and Garra, then it becomes okay. You would have to be the favorite. It would be different. Everything would change then going into the world championships. In who knows what Leah and Carola end up doing. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Leading into Sheffield, they're already committed to 69 kilos. They are going to probably, I think you're right, want to bulk up a little bit. They're going to want to, I mean, they got two options. They got two options. They either look at themselves and be like, how quickly can I lose 3.5 kilos and get to 63? Right? Or
But like,
how quickly can I gain a couple kilos and let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice.
but I feel like in terms of Sheffield, it completely wouldn't make sense for them to go down to the 63s
Right.
because it's based on the world record total, and the world record total is lower in the 69s, and that's the most important thing. So that would be pretty weird to go down to
Yeah.
the 63s for them.
Fair enough. I think you're right. I think they're committed. So it's locked and loaded. They're locked in and it's going to happen, which is interesting. And then moving forward after that, then they can have themselves that conversation like, um, how do we feel? Do we still feel like 69 is the way to go? Because whatever's this world record is going to get crazy. This world record is no longer going to be less than the 63s. This world
Yeah.
record is going to be at a more a standard that you would suspect for a 69 kilo class, and God knows how far you're gonna take it. And Leah and Carola as well. Even if you didn't show up, they were probably going to push it pretty far as well. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I can't wait till freaking Sheffield. And you know what?
Me too.
Even though you're this young, you've been in so many battles now in equipped world games, equipped worlds, classic worlds. You've done Sheffield. I mean, you were like battle tested at this point. Is it like, do you still get excited, nervous, etc. for these kind of battles?
Hmm. Excited for sure. And I feel like the more I compete, the more nervous I actually get. Like at first I was pretty chill about this. I'm just gonna go have fun and see. But right now that I'm in the mix and competing with some of the best in the world, it's just getting a little bit more nervous. Especially if I say that I want to hit a set number
Mm.
publicly, and it's like people expect things to happen, but still I'm trying to just go there, go all out and have fun and not stress too much about it because I know that I've done everything I could have done. I did all the training sessions. I paid attention to sleep, diet and stuff, and there's no reason to stress about it now on the day because I can't change anything now. Just gotta see what's there and take what's there.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean where to an extent, when people talk like they did, like you said earlier, people were saying like when you're with your battle with Jess, and they're like, "Oh, Jess is gonna win," blah blah blah. I mean, it's good for Jess, and you said like you felt sad hearing it, but on the flip side, Jess has got all that pressure, and you didn't have the pressure. If people are saying that, you're like, "Oh, I don't have any pressure expectation." Whereas Jess probably felt that. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, everybody's saying I have to win," right? Like it's easier if people looking the other way. Whereas in this situation, people might be saying, I think Agata's going to win this. And it puts more pressure on yourself. However, you've been here before. You know, on the day of, you versus gravity. You're just going to lift weights. It's the same in, same out. You've been in enough of these showdowns. You know how it's going to go. It's going to feel the exact same as when, you get in your zone and you start hitting your lifts and everything's going to work out fine. And you've done it enough times now. And you've experienced Sheffield, which is big. Garra hasn't experienced Sheffield. I think she'll do fine. I mean, she's a warrior, but you've experienced it all at this point. Equip Worlds, Classic World, and Sheffield. There's nothing new. You end up doing your the same thing you've always done and let the chips fall where they may. All right, kind lady, let's play a quick name game if you got a couple of minutes, and then I'll let you go. It'll be a mix between the 69s and 76s, obviously. No surprise there, but I'll shoot you a name, and then you could tell me either what the first word that comes to mind, two words, story, whatever. There's no right and wrong answer. You say whatever you like.
Okay.
So we'll start off real quick. Leah Bavoil.
The strongest 63 and 69 to have ever been.
Sorry, say that again. You cut out for a second.
The strongest 63 and 69 so far. Would like to have ever been.
Carola Garra.
Very experienced lifter in both equipped and classic. Very good lifter.
Jessica Bittner.
A forklift.
Sorry?
A forklift. That's gotta be a forklift.
uh, Carlina Tongatea.
Something unexpected that came to the 76s.
And how about this one? Agata Sitko.
Someone who's forklift certified. I just have to say this.
There it is. All right, listen, Agata, thank you for coming on the podcast. Much appreciated. I can't wait to get everybody's impression when this thing drops and everybody finds out the little secret that now is open. Um, Man, Sheffield is starting to turn into that event. Sheffield is starting to turn into that event that people shift weight classes at the last minute. and some magic happens, like when Evie Corrigan, oh hey, surprise, surprise, I'm 52 now, and Agatha is like, oh hey, surprise, surprise, I'm a 69 now, and like it's become that special event. It's starting to. We won't really too deep, but I love it. I love it when, like, after the IPF World Championships, you don't know what to expect with Sheffield. People start tinkering and changing things, and yeah, magic happens. But good luck with training. Good luck with the weight cut, and we'll keep in touch
Thank
in the
you.
DMs. And I'll see you at Sheffield.
Thanks for having me.
You
It's
bet.
great to announce something like this on the
Yeah, I agree. I
podcast.
can't wait. All right, and everybody listening, please do subscribe as per usual. Give us high ratings, and until next time, six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.